You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans, and welcome to another edition of your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. My name is Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease at @JimGrease_GRIES, and another tough one tonight in a season full of them. It has just been a rough go for this team from the start. Tonight, the Red Sox beat them 8-3, and it was not even that close, dare I say. Just a tough one for Miami. Yet again, they can't hit anybody. This time it's Cole Kutter who comes in with a 3-7 record, and they make him look like Cy Young. And that's what happened tonight against the Miami Marlins. Your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST starting now. Wherever you get your POSTCAST, want to thank you. And you are a diehard fan. If you are a fan of this team, and every day they test that fandom. They do, but they also give you a lot. They work hard. They play hard. They literally try to take the extra bag all the time. They really do work hard. They play hard. They don't take a lot of pitches. They're not all that fundamentally sound. They're getting there. They're young. They're getting there. There's not a star on this team anywhere to be found, and that's okay too. I mean, these things happen, right? But I want to thank you first and foremost while you're here for making Locked On Marlins POSTCAST your first listen every day. We're free. We're available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And tonight's episode in particular is brought to you by FanDuel. And you guys know I love FanDuel, right? Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. And the Red Sox and Marlins got started today with this 3-game series. We have the recap done, so we'll hit that for you a little bit later in the show like we always do. We hit the scoring for you, and we hit the scoring for you in the boxes, and then we hit the recap a little bit later, give you our thoughts on what's going on with the Marlins and what happened in this game today. And in between, we do a couple commercials, pay the bills. But really, this game, when you think about it, it started early for the Red Sox. I mean, they were up 5-0 at the end of 4 innings. It was 2-0 in the first inning, and it started early for the Red Sox as they were facing Valente Beozo, and Beozo, who is 0-1 now, got the loss. 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. He had 8 strikeouts. He looked really good, looked dominant at times in this game. I mean, the four-seamer's hitting 90, 91. He doesn't throw hard. Change-ups 80. You know what I mean? He doesn't throw a ton of pitches. This dude, he's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie. I know that. He throws a big sweeper, so he gets Duran to fly out to left, and Duran's been red hot. More on him in a minute. O'Neill reaches on an infield single to short. Abreu doubles to center. O'Neill to third. Devers singles to right. I said Devers. I knew I was going to say Devers. Devers singles to right. O'Neill scores, and Abreu scores. So just like that, it's 2-0 Boston right out of the jump. And, you're not going to win a lot of games when you're just like the second. You're just not. I mean, by the time you even hit, you're down. And you're usually down by a couple if you're the Marlins. And that's just a shame. And, it's been happening way too often this year. Where are we here? There we are. Okay. Yeah, so 13 hits for the Red Sox. I mean, we can start there. A couple of home runs for the Red Sox. We could go there. Easy 8-3 win for the Red Sox. We can go there. Kutter Crawford pitched his best game of the season for the Red Sox. We could go there, right? 6 innings, 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 7. I mean, in this day and age, that'll get you in the Hall of Fame. Nobody goes more than 6 anyway, hardly ever. Came into this game with a 3-7 record. Looks like a combination of Pedro Martinez and every other great pitcher who ever donned a Red Sox uniform. Because Pedro's that high above all of them, right? But, man, it's Kutter Crawford had a great game. I mean, Jake Burger and Jesus Sanchez hit solo home runs for Miami. Emmanuel Rivera added an RBI single. Ceddanne Rafaela hit a 3-run homer for the Red Sox. And Rafael Devers, why do I keep saying Devers? That's a sports. There was a guy named Devers who used to play for the Red Sox, and also another athlete named Devers. So it's Rafael Devers for the Red Sox. Had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, while Masataka Yoshida went 2 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. Jarren Duran, told you about him. The leadoff man's red hot. He's hit safely in 18 of his last 19 games. He homered for the Sox today as well. They play game 2 tomorrow. 6:40 p.m. Eastern time is the start. And you got Trevor Rogers. He of the 1-8 record with the 4.87 ERA. Probably deserves better than the 1-8 for sure. He's going to face Brayan Bello, 7-5, 5.55. Fives everywhere, fives for the Red Sox. So 13 hits for the Red Sox. They just made it look easy today against the Marlins. And, usually the Marlins pitchers are better than they were in this game today, right? But it was 2-0 after the top of the first inning. And, Wong strikes out swinging after Devers singles to right. Yoshida, who had a good game today, single, but then Valdez struck out looking. Marlins bottom one, way too familiar for this team. Crawford pitching for Boston, right? And, yeah, just the guy's nothing really spectacular, and that's not a knock on him. The guy's 3-7. He's a below average starting pitcher in Major League Baseball with a 90 mile an hour four-seam fastball. So bottom of the first, Jazz flies out to right. De La Cruz swinging. Bell fouls out to first, and he was changing speeds. He was moving stuff around. I'm not just trying to diss the guy, but when a guy comes in at 3-7 and he strikes out 8 in 6 innings, you got problems, man. You got real problems. Beozo in the top of the second gets Smith strikeout swinging. Rafaela grounds out to third. Duran walks and steals second. O'Neill, their number 2 hitter, strikes out swinging. Marlins bottom 2. Crawford on the hill for Boston, obviously. Sanchez grounds out. Burger flies out. Edwards flies out. And in that inning, Edwards saw a lot of pitches, right? Edwards saw a lot of pitches in this at-bat, and that was a good job by him. And more on Edwards in a minute. And he had a couple of good games earlier this year. Beozo settling down. Third inning, you thought, right? He gets Abreu and Devers and Wong. Back to back to back. Strikes him out. You're thinking, all right, Beozo looks good today. Maybe, the Marlins will be all right. Marlins come up bottom third. Brujan fouls out. Rivera strikes out. And then Fortes singles to center. Chisholm strikes out. Looking. Top of the fourth for Beozo on the hill. He's getting strikeouts in this game, but he gave up after a leadoff single to Yoshida and a single to Valdez. It's a 3-run shot for Rafaela, and just like that, it's 5-0 Red Sox. 5-zip at the end of 4, and you're like, man, this game is just taking the shape of way too many other games before it. De La Cruz flies out. Bell strikes out, swinging. Sanchez grounds to first. Beozo on the mound in the top of the 5th still for Miami. Abreu strikes out looking. Devers grounded out to first. Devers. Wong lined out to second, and that's it. So bottom of the 5th for the Marlins, and I will never say that again. So Burger homers to left center. You're kind of creeping back a little bit. It's 5-1 through that. Nothing in the 5th, nothing in the 6th. They go 1-2-3 again. Cronin comes in for the Marlins in the 6th and gets them. Gives up 1 hit, nothing doing there. Red Sox in the 7th. Wong reaches on an infield single to shortstop. O'Neill scores. He had single to center. There's 2 outs with O'Neill on second, and then an infield single, or he's on third. Moves over to third on a single from Devers, and then Wong on an infield single scores O'Neill, and then Yoshida singles to center, scores Devers. Valdez flies out end of the thread at 7-2 at that point. You know what I'm saying? 7-1, excuse me. Sanchez homers to center for the Marlins, makes it 7-2. Rivera singles in Edwards, who singled after Burger grounded out with 1 away, a 1-out single. He scores on Rivera's single. 7-3 the score. And in the top of the... Here we are. We are in the... There we go. Top of the 8th for the Red Sox. They picked up 1 more when Duran homered to right center. 430-foot shot. He's hitting 18 of 19 games. Horn comes in for the Red Sox in the 8th inning. Chisholm grounds out. De La Cruz strikes out swinging. Bell grounds out to short. Chargois pitches for the Marlins in the 9th. Devers grounds out. Wong grounds out. Yoshida strikes out swinging. And then you have the Marlins in the bottom of the 9th. Horn on the hill. Sanchez lines to center. Burger gets a 1-out single. He's been hitting the ball a little bit better. Edwards to the fielder's choice. Burger out at second. And Edwards goes to second on fielder's indifference. Stole second. Nobody cared. Brujan grounds out to second to end the game. And the final is 8-3. The Marlins lose this one. Tough one again. Look, it's just getting repetitive at this point. The Red Sox go to 45-39. They're a little cooled off after a big win streak for a while. They went 8-2 in a 10-game stretch, but they've cooled off playing 500 ball over the last 5-6 games. And You know, you got the Marlins sitting there now at 30-55. And the Phillies won their 55th game against the Marlins 2 days ago. Now you got the Marlins with the double nickel at 30-55, and it just gets depressing, to say the least. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast, but they work so hard and they fight every day, and, you know, it's just that they can't hit, and they have trouble. I mean, when they're not pitching at all, they're in big trouble. They just don't score. They have a lot of trouble scoring runs, a lot of trouble hitting, this team. They don't have the big guy in the middle of the lineup. It's the same stuff we talk about every night. Kutter guts fish, Devers delivers, Duran, baby. Girls on film. Burger and Sanchez go deep for Miami. And Rogers pitches tomorrow. He of the 1-8 record. Is it 1-8 or 1? Does it even matter? 1-8 or 1-7? It doesn't really matter. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to take a look at the Red Sox and this team. Look, there's a couple of guys who are making their homecoming this weekend with the Boston Red Sox. One of them, their manager, Alex Cora. The other one, their play-by-play guy, Dave O'Brien. And there have been a lot of people over the years who have left Boston or left Miami to go to Boston, right? I mean, Kevin Millar is a guy who comes to mind. Mike Lowell's another one. I mean, there have been more than that, right? But it's fun to see those old friends come back into town. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Step aside, pay a couple bills, and we will be right back with more. First things first, I'm going to tell you again that I absolutely love sports. I was raised on them. I have to wean myself off if I'm not able to watch for extended periods of time. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs are gone now, the finals done in basketball and hockey, we get fewer games. No football yet, and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer today. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, real quick, want to thank you for making Locked On Marlins postcast your first listen every day. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. We're free, available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And tonight's show brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. And if by chance you want some information to go along with all this action that you're getting on all these games and all the fun you're having, then why not check out Locked On Sports Today? Make the switch now. A free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And here we go. Moving right along. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease, here on your Tuesday. Man, it's July 2nd already. We got the 4th coming out on Thursday. Hope you guys have great plans. Hope that you are ready to celebrate our nation's birthday. Wow, what an incredible year it is, 2024. Who knows, right, what's going on these days? It's everything's a little bit nuts in the world. We know this, but man, we are blessed to live in this incredible country. We have baseball all day, every day, no doubt about it. So for the Sox, they win 8-3, 45-39, 25-16 on the road. The Marlins 30-55, 16-28 at home. The Marlins had 7 hits. The Sox had 13. Neither team committed an error, but the Sox got 2 in the first, 3 in the fifth, 2 in the seventh, 1 in the eighth. The Marlins 1 in the fifth, 2 in the seventh, and that was it for them. For the Sox, Duran, 18 of 19 games he's hit safely, and he's 1 for 4 today with an RBI and a run scored. That one was a home run. Also had a walk. O'Neill, the second-place hitter, was 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Abreu, 1 for 5 with a run scored, and the 3-hole struck out 3 times there in that spot. Devers, 2 for 5, 2 RBIs and a run scored. I did it. See, Wong, the catcher, 1 for 5 with an RBI. Yoshida, 3 for 5 with run scored and 1 batted in. He had a big game. 1 for 4 for Valdez with a run scored. 1 for 4 for Smith. And Rafaela, the catcher, was 1 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Of course, that home run, the 3-run home run from the number 9 hitter, is never a good thing. For the Red Sox on the bump, Kutter Crawford, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. 7 strikeouts, gave up a homer. Kelly pitched 1 inning, 3 hits, 2 runs. They were both, or 1 was earned, 1 home run and a strikeout. And then Horn, 2 innings, and it was 1 hit and 1 strikeout for him. Meanwhile, for the Marlins, Chisholm at the top, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. De La Cruz in the 2-hole, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. Bell in the 3-hole, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. Sanchez, the cleanup hitter, 1 for 4, the home run. Gave him an RBI and a run scored. Same thing with Burger, except he had 2 hits with a home run, a solo shot. Gave him 1 RBI and 1 run scored. Edwards, the shortstop, 1 for 4 with a run scored. 0 for 4 with 2 Ks for Prujan, just like Bell and De La Cruz. 2 for 3 with an RBI for Rivera and 1 for 3 for Fortes. Then you go on down to the pitching lines in Belloso. Valente, 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. A walk and 8 strikeouts, 98 pitches. His ERA is at 4.5. Cronin, 2 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. They were earned. And Chargois, 2 innings, 1 earned run. It was his first of the year on 1 hit. So that's how it kind of went down right there with the Red Sox beating the Marlins 8-3 and a tough one all the way across the board. Again, the Red Sox, they're 8 games back. Is it the Yankees or the O's? Let me see. Baltimore's, they're tied. They're a game. The Yankees have 1 more win. The Orioles have 1 fewer loss. An exact tie. The Orioles and the Yankees. Orioles are 3 percentage points ahead because of the way the wins and losses are structured. The wins, obviously, don't count for more. Losses count for less, apparently. So New York 54-32, Baltimore 53-31, Boston 45-39, 8 games out. Right now, they are literally 8 games out in the win column from Baltimore and 8 games out in the loss column from Baltimore. And that would make them 9-7 with the Yankees. Yeah, there you go. Okay, and the Marlins, meanwhile, 30-55, 25.5 out. You got Philly. They were off today at 55-29. The Braves, 8 back. The Mets, 13. Nationals, 16. And Marlins, 9.5 behind the Nats at 25.5, and the Nats were hot when the Marlins played them, so that didn't help the Marlins in the standings there any either, and you know what I'm saying. So, real quick, I talked about this, and we're going to look ahead in the next segment, and we're going to give you the recap and what we missed. You see on the screen behind me, right? Where am I? That's your right arm, Jim. Everything's opposite day. There we go. Boom. Alex Cora, man, I love Alex Cora. I'll tell you about Alex in a minute, but the thing about Alex Cora is Alex Cora is a Hurricane, right? Alex Cora is a Miami Hurricane. I went to school at the U, went to school with Alex Cora. Pat Burrell was a freshman my senior year. Cora was the shortstop. It was the Robbie Morrison game, LSU, the home run. You know what I'm saying. You can never live that down. J.D. Arteaga pitched a masterpiece, and Robbie Morrison gave up the home run, and he was the closer all year. He was amazing. Warren Morris hit it. You guys, 1996 College World Series, Miami lost on a walk-off. It was the only game we lost in that World Series. It was double elimination until the end. They already had a loss. It was unfair. It was BS, but Cora was the shortstop on that team. Then fast forward all those years he plays. Then fast forward managing. And also, it's always good to see Alex Cora back in South Florida. He lives in Puerto Rico in the offseason. Obviously manages the Red Sox, so he's in Boston most of the summer. But after everything that happened with the cheating scandal and the Red Sox, when he was involved with it, the Astros, the Red Sox let him go in 2020. Serves a year suspension for what had happened with the Astros. They took him back, and they're much better off for it. So Alex Cora, the University of Miami Hall of Famer, always good to see him back in Miami, and that's him on the screen right there. I used to broadcast games for the Canes when I was in college and do the talk show on WVUM, and Alex, just a great dude. Joey's younger brother at the time because he was a Mariner. But the other homecoming, Dave O'Brien. Dave helped me a lot up and coming in my career in Miami in the 90s. He would sit and talk to me. He did broadcaster camps that I was a part of and guest on shows that I was a part of over the years, and longtime voice of the Red Sox. Now, I would recognize Dave O'Brien's voice anywhere. Dave O'Brien, Joe Angel, very, very special. The voices of the Marlins for a long time, man. And they, wow. Those guys were incredible. Let's put it this way. And that was a nice run in 97 with those guys on the mic. So good to see Dave O'Brien back in South Florida, too. Listen, the Red Sox haven't had it easy the last couple of years. Hasn't been an easy go for either Alex or Dave O'Brien. But I'm sure they have a conversation or two when they're getting ready to come back here about their South Florida days, where Dave O'Brien lived more up in, like, the Palm Beach Gardens area. And Alex was Miami through and through, but he lives in Puerto Rico now. So time flies, man. You see these gray hairs. Time flies. But always nice to see my guy, and you see those gray hairs. Always nice to see my guy, Alex Cora, coming back into town. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease. Right here, bringing you the ups, the downs, and everything you need to know. My screen froze here. Here we go. With your Marlins day in and day out. Of course, we'll have the Dolphins during the season, the Canes too, the Heat when basketball begins again. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll give you the recap, see if we missed anything. We never miss anything. Get you ready for tomorrow, see if the Fish can get back into the win column, as Joe Angel liked to say. And we will do that when we get back from the break, which I'm not going anywhere for. Neither are you. Come on. There you go, computer. See, we got everything up here. It's more important we have everything up than it is. All right, computer's running a little slow, going from element to element on the production side, guys. So if you're not noticing it, pay no mind. But if it is, just know that I apologize, and it's nothing to do with anything other than bandwidth and all those things that are going on right now. But I will tell you this. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily. Let me start again. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy daily sports app with over 500 million. Sorry, guys. All right, there it goes. Please hold still for me. There it is. Okay. All right. Sorry, my whole screen just went crazy on me and I lost the whole spot. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do, pick more, pick less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today, because right now you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks. With as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into 1,000. And if you're looking for promotions, ho, baby, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays, Prize Picks has you covered. You get the players and the stat types you're selecting. It's all you. You go more, you go less, right? You can win that easily. I made my first $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into 1,000 with Prize Picks. And all you have to do, it's so easy. Come on a little bit closer. And are you ready? Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Also want to tell you about my friends at Tax Network USA. Here on Locked On Marlins Postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank accounts, even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed tax professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon, 1-800-549-1000, tnusa.com/lockedon. Mention Locked On Marlins Postcast at checkout, and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services at Tax Network USA. Real quick, want to remind you that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the Free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the Free Fire TV channels app. One more time, want to say thank you for making Locked On Marlins Postcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's always something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, wrapping it up on your Locked On Marlins postcast. 8-3, the Marlins lose today. Tough one for the Fish, to say the least. A good performance for the Red Sox. Kutter Crawford, maybe his best of the year. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, no walks against the Marlins. Beozo struck out 8, but he didn't walk anybody, which is crazy, but he's very hittable. Doesn't throw hard. Not a lot of nasty action on his pitches. He gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs, but he struck out 8. I think he'll be all right once he puts everything together. He was good his last time out, and the Red Sox are really hitting the ball well. Right now, O'Neill with 2 hits, 2 for Devers, 3 for Yoshida, a 3-run homer for Rafaela. Duran hit safely for the 18th in 19 games. For the Marlins, Burger had 2 hits. Other than that, De La Cruz, Bell, and Brujan struck out twice apiece. Burger 2 hits, Rivera 2 hits. Rivera with an RBI, Burger a home run, Sanchez a solo shot. That's all she wrote. Nobody pitched well for the Marlins today. None of the pitchers have a 0 under the hits or the runs column next to their name, and it just was that kind of a day. All right, before we get out of here, let's take a look at the recap and see if we missed anything in this game, and then we'll quickly get you ready for tomorrow. And I don't know if I'm saying this right. I think it's Ceddanne Rafaela, or is it Ceddanne? I think it's Ceddanne. Is it Ceddanne or Ceddanne? It's Ceddanne. It's Ceddanne Rafaela, I believe. Anyway, Kutter Crawford gave up 3 hits and 1 run over 6 solid innings. Rafaela and Jarren Duran homered, and the Red Sox beat the Marlins 8-3 on Tuesday night. Masataka Yoshida had 3 hits, and Rafael Devers singled twice and drove in 2 runs for the Red Sox. Every player in Boston's lineup had at least 1 hit. Crawford's 4-7. He struck out 7. It was his 6th consecutive start of at least 6 innings and his 12th this season. Devers' 2-run single in the first gave Boston the early lead. Duran walked, and Wilyer Abreu doubled before Devers hit a hard smash that bounced off first baseman Jake Burger's glove and rolled to right field. The Red Sox increased their lead in the 4th. Rafaela with a 3-run homer. A fastball from Beozo went over the wall and left. Burger puts Miami on the board with his leadoff homer in the 5th. But consecutive RBI singles from Connor Wong and Yoshida in the 7th made it 7-1. The Marlins got to within 4 again in the bottom half. Sanchez with a solo homer. Emmanuel Rivera's run-scoring single against reliever Zach Kelly. But Duran with a 430-foot solo shot into the right center field seats in the 8th. There you had it again. That gave you the final score. Beozo was lifted after 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, 7 hits, struck out 8 in his 2nd major league start. Before the game, Tim Anderson was designated for assignment by Miami. The veteran shortstop was signed to a 1-year, $5 million contract in spring training. Former American League batting champion, 31 years old. He hit .204 over 65 games. They thought he'd be a nice 1-2 punch with Luis Ariz. They thought wrong about Tim Anderson this year. We wish him well, but it didn't work out for him here in Miami. Meanwhile, from the trainer's room, Edward Cabrera with that right shoulder impingement will make his 4th rehab start with AAA Jacksonville on Saturday. It will be lengthened to 6 innings and 80 to 85 pitches for him. Meanwhile, this matchup tomorrow, the Marlins and the Red Sox. What do we got here? We have wait. Hold on. Sorry, guys. The websites and computers going crazy here, going everywhere on me. We're trying to make it to the finish. Here we go. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Sometimes it gets a little interesting, right? Sometimes it gets a little bit interesting. So here, where are we at here? Let me try to do it this way. It's not letting me do anything. Hold on. Here we go. One more thing, maybe. Come on, guys. Here we go. Just let me take a look at the game tomorrow, and we'll get on out of here. Come on. There we go. There we go. Yeah, okay. A lot of windows opening, a lot of stuff happening here. Come on. We're just about done. Give it to me. Appreciate you guys watching right now, too. The day-by-dayers. You're here day in and day out, and you see what the Marlins do, and they scratch and they claw, and sometimes they look real bad, right? But the thing that gets me is, they swing at the first pitch a lot. They don't walk. When you don't have patience at the plate, you turn ordinary pitchers into good pitchers. You turn good pitchers into very good pitchers. You turn very good pitchers into great pitchers. And you turn great pitchers into unhittable pitchers when you don't have plate discipline. And it's very hard for this team because they don't walk. They swing at the first pitch all the time. And it's very difficult for me to say it because I am in the world's thinnest glass house. Because when I played baseball, I swung at the first pitch every time up. It looks so good every time, that fastball right down the middle, except in the bigs, you don't always get that, and that's where it gets a little dicey. But if you don't have plate discipline, remember that when you watch baseball from now on and you're looking at the discipline of the hitter. What made Barry Bonds so great was not just that he was such an incredible player. Look, 400 home runs, 400 steals before the juice, if he took the juice. Come on, I have to say allegedly. But you know what I'm saying? Barry Bonds still had to hit the ball. And Barry Bonds had an incredible eye. He walked more than he hit home runs. His on-base percentage would have been over 300 the year he hit 70-plus home runs just on the walks alone. That's one thing the Marlins really don't have. All right, tomorrow's, and they don't have a lot of great pitching either, as, Rogers 1-8 with a 4.87. Going to pitch against Bello for the Red Sox tomorrow, 7-5 with a 5.55. Look, it's not rocket science to figure out what you have to do to win baseball games. This game tomorrow, the Red Sox are minus 145, Miami's plus 125. The total is 8.5, plus 105 on the over, minus 125 on the under. So there's a little bit there on the over with Bello and Rogers, and the ERAs close to 5 and over 5. Maybe you go the over on that game tomorrow. But it's a 6:40 p.m. first pitch in the MIA. How about Rick Ross getting beat down in Canada? That was kind of fun. He didn't get beat down. He got kind of served a little bit for playing Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us song in Drake country. But that's still going on. Anyway, a lot of that comes to Miami. But there's 2 more games in this series. They play tomorrow, and then they wrap it up. And they're all at 6:40 p.m. Eastern time. And then the White Sox come in after that. So you get the Red Sox, the White Sox, back-to-back around the 4th of July. Thursday, it'll be fun. Be a game on the 4th of July in the stadium. Going to be a lot of fun with the fireworks and all that. Hope you really enjoy it, and I hope you come back here right after that game for your Locked On Marlins postcast, which leads me to remind you, after thanking you profusely for being here again, thank you so much. We're really growing the whole entire network. 400 million people in a 12-month period. Unreal what David Locke has created here, and all the great people who I get to work with, and all the incredible hosts who spend their lives bringing you the ins and outs, the ups and downs, day by day, every day, for your favorite team, for your favorite league. And in some cases, like Locked On with the odds making and all that with Lee Sterling, sometimes a little something different, a little specialty item for you here at Locked On. So we thank you very much for coming back here every day. And this point of the show, I have to tell you, and you know I don't like to do this, but I have to tell you, that's all there is, Fish fan. There is no more. Your Locked On Marlins podcast on your Tuesday. 8-3 Red Sox win the opening game of the 3-game set leading into the 4th of July. And just not a good day for the Miami Marlins all the way across the board. They didn't hit, they didn't pitch, and they are just happy to see the calendar turn to tomorrow and see if they can do those things then, because their record now is 30-55, although they're not anywhere near that bad as that record would indicate. And we will be here tomorrow after that game. Want to make sure that you continue to be right here day in and out and day out with your Locked On Marlins postcast. Until then, I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease at @JimGrease_ on social media. Thanking you again for being here with me day in and day out and being with us here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and reminding you to always, no matter what they tell you, keep your game tight and your mind right, baby. I'm out.